Hey
San
Fam! In literally just 1 month, we are going to start homeschooling our 6-year-old son. And we actually even moved to another country so that we would be able to do that. And in this video, we want to give you a few reasons of how we were thinking about coming to this decision and how we ended up specifically in Norway. And just so you know, for context for this conversation, in Norway, homeschooling is allowed, but it's very uncommon. Many Norwegians don't even know about it. 241 children 2 years ago. That was all. 241 children that were homeschooled, which is 0.04% of all the children that were going to school. So it's very uncommon. And neither of us have a homeschooling background. Both of our fathers are working as teachers and vice principals, and so that is also what we went through. We went through the normal school system. So we want to tell you how, with all of that, we still ended up choosing to homeschool our son in a month.
Yeah, it's so soon. I'm very excited for this. But yeah, it was something that we felt was very important, because when we got Elionai, then we read some books about how to bring up children and bring up children with Christian values and so, and in it was mentioned about homeschooling, and it was a bit of a new concept for us, and not really something I had considered much before.
I just knew it from movies that I used to watch back in the day, that in the United States people homeschool or something.
Yeah, I had stumbled maybe upon something from United States, but for a very good reason, it was not really on my mind, because at this time we lived in Sweden, and I grew up in Sweden, and in Sweden it's actually not allowed to homeschool, like not for any reason. There is no exceptions. So when we started feeling more and more that this with homeschooling is something we very much would want to do, and was high on our priority list of like life decisions, and then we came to the point of just wondering, what do we do, because it's not allowed in Sweden. And of course back then we had some years to think about this.
Because it would start when he would turn 6.
Yeah, that's when you
the
start
year
school.
when it starts.
Yeah, but so we looked into where could we then move, because we figured if we want to do this, we're gonna need to move. First we looked at some options to really find out, is it true that you can't under any circumstances homeschool in Sweden? And no, you just can't. So we looked at English-speaking countries, because that would have his preference with English.
I saw an
as first
opportunity there,
language.
like, English-speaking country.
Yeah. But it turned out to be too hard for different reasons. Like some countries was just too hard to even be allowed to get into. And we actually went to Australia for half a year, also to test out, to see if we would move there. But since my skin reacted so bad there, it was just not an option with that humidity and so. So then back in Sweden again, and we were praying so much for like where to move and what to do. And that period was very interesting and intense and exciting. And we have made a video about that, how it came to be that we actually eventually moved to Norway. Yeah. So if you want to watch that, it's in the description.
A really fun video. It was such a stressful time also, but
so stressful,
now I'm happy that we have a fun video to look back on.
But it ended up with that we had looked into, of course, at Norway. We knew you're allowed to homeschool there. And then when this opportunity came for us to actually move to Norway, we thought, that would be very...
It makes sense.
It's very close to the culture in Sweden. The language is very close. Like you understand each other with the language, and still pretty close then to my family in Sweden, and still in Europe, so closer to your family too. Instead of on the other side of the world. I know they appreciate.
Both our parents were like, "Oh no!"
My mom was so happy when we said we
It's
we
just
chose
Norway.
Yeah, woo. But yeah, anyway, so that was some of the reasons why we chose Norway. Even if it's uncommon to homeschool here, it is still allowed, and it had many benefits in that way.
And actually, the reason why we ended up in Norway was because of a family who actually are also homeschooling their children. And through our church, there's actually quite a few families that are homeschooling. So we kind of got into this network of people who are, thinking kind of the same as we are. So which is really great, because one of the concerns that is often expressed with homeschooling is not will they be able to learn the things, and those kind of things are not so much a concern. It's like the social. Like, do they get the social contact with others and stuff? And
which can be for good reasons that people are like wondering about that. But in our case, like, we have such a big network in church and so. And Elionai, for anyone that knows him, they know he's very, very social.
Probably the most social person I've ever met.
Yeah. So we feel like we have that covered, and very thankful that we have friends that are homeschooling and into that, because then he also has a group of friends that we can do things together with, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so to go over to...
So that's how we ended up in Norway. And now, why are we thinking it's so important?
Yeah, with the homeschooling. Like, we discovered that it has many benefits, like things that I hadn't thought about so much before, and one of the things was the biggest thing, but we will end with that. Setting up the thing, no. But yeah, one of the things that we thought about is that which has actually become more relevant as time has gone, and we have seen Elionai's character develop, and like, of course, this we didn't know when he was a baby, but now we know more, that for his personality, it makes a lot of sense to have homeschooling, because he is very smart and he likes learning. But to sit in a setting like the typical school setting at a desk and just sit there still, and it just doesn't really suit him so good. He wants to be up and do things, and he would have a very hard time focusing. And we know that for his like academical academical pursuits or
growth,
growth, it will be very beneficial for him with homeschooling, because then he can have this one-on-one time and get the help he needs to get started with things, and someone that can like keep his interest, which is of course very hard in a classroom setting where you maybe have one teacher on 30 students, as it is in Sweden at least.
Here it is smaller groups, but still we really see with Elionai that he really thrives with the closer connection, the one-on-one, and being busy and learning things while doing stuff.
Exactly.
Like when we were building the compost a few months ago, it's like math, right? You need to measure and you need to build, and so that's really a way in which he really likes to learn.
And like, that is the thing, to learn by projects and doing things, and to learn in more practical ways, like making food. He's very interested in helping out with cleaning or making food, and he wants to make his own smoothies, and in that way you can get many topics, many school things, and the theoretical knowledge you can get it in practical ways, and he doesn't perceive and always know that he's learning, but then he has learned the thing. So I like that about the homeschooling option, that you can make it much more like practical, and also at the same time, then as you learn the academical things, the theoretical things, you also learn life skills. So you learn things that you will have use of for the rest of your life. You learn maybe orderliness, cleanliness, and different things, and gardening,
building,
things that I know that, like, you have some different topics, of course, in school with that too, but I know that was something I would have wished for more when having gone through the whole school system, and then feeling like most of the things I'm not actually using, and the things that I would have liked to learn, I didn't get to learn. So you can teach in that way, and also with character building. So it has a lot of benefits with that, and what I love about it is that you can adjust it to his needs and his interests. So if he's specifically interested in something, say if he's interested in trucks, okay, then you can use that and form like the education around that so that he learns while being engaged in what he's interested, because then you learn extra good. So there's a lot of, we saw a lot of positive possibilities with the homeschooling option for that. And
I'm looking forward to doing all kinds of different things with him, even though you will be the one mainly responsible and leading it out. But I'm looking forward to doing different projects with him, and it will be really fun for him to learn in those practical, useful ways. That's
I've been looking up a lot on like Instagram, different other people that are homeschooling and ideas, and made
lots of ideas out there.
Yeah, so many ideas. I've made like a Notion structured up with different ideas that you can use for different topics. So I'm very much looking forward to this, because I like to learn myself, and I like to teach also. So I'm looking forward to it. And it will have its challenges too, of course, but a lot of fun. And then
you really keep going, don't you? She's very excited.
Yeah, I am very excited. But you can share the next part.
I was saying another benefit, very practically speaking, is you can be very flexible then with how you teach, but also you can be flexible in how you structure up the days. Like we'll have the mornings dedicated to school, that will be the school hours. But if there's like some exceptions of like it's like very nice weather, or we're gonna do a project or traveling or whatever, then you can move things around in ways that you wouldn't be able to do when you sign them up for a school. But now it's more within your control, and you can just arrange things in a way that works, and he still hits his goals, he still gets those hours in, but you can just arrange them in a way that it's like Tetris, making a lot of things fit at the same time.
I like that too, like because then it gives us flexibility for that we can still decide like how we want our life to be, and especially luxurious, of course, because we are home all three, so we can get that like family time in, and that is one of the reasons why we wanted to go for the homeschooling option, because we want to have like family bonding time, and we want him to grow up in a safe environment where like with stability, and where we create a lot of nice family moments together, and we think that is very important, and the time is so short. I mean, everyone
it's
says
already
that.
6. It's crazy.
I know, and everyone said that before we like got pregnant. Even people said, "Oh, when you get a child, time is just gonna fly." I'm like, well, it does.
It's true.
And I mean, we chose for me to be home. I have been home with Elionai since he was born. Like I am educated as a biomolecular scientist, which was very fun. But I would not exchange anything for getting to be home with my child, and to raise him and be part of that, and be involved like in that whole process very much more actively than what you have energy and possibility to be if you have a 9-to-5 job, and then you just like, okay, in the morning just rush your child away to daycare or school, and then come back after you are exhausted, the children are exhausted, and you just feed them, put them to bed, and then maybe you have some like something in the weekends. So I just did not want to have it in that way, like the rat race of life. So in this way, like he can have much more peace, I think, and like calmness. The mornings can be calmer, and like the family atmosphere can be like calmer, happier, and like provide this safety for him, and to have quality time. And I mean, he in Sweden, then you send your children away to daycare when they are like 1 or 2. And I'm just so happy to be been able to have all this time. And now he is 6, and I'm just happy that can continue, that we can still have the time together.
That does come with sacrifices, or at least, I mean, living off a one salary, society is built on like dual income households.
Yeah.
So it means you got to live simpler, smaller, and there's some compromises that you need to make in other areas. But yeah, this is really something that there was a quote that I read from my favorite Christian author, Ellen White. She's big on families. I really love that. And she has this quote where she says, like, family is the first mission field. And I love mission. I love doing projects and reaching out. And so that helped me to think of like, yeah, family really should be above that. And having a child is a responsibility. When you choose to bring a child into the world, then you are the one that's supposed to take care of the child. And especially from spiritual perspective, and we'll come to that as well, you're the one to train your child in the ways of the Lord. So we wanted really to say, okay, we'll make those sacrifices. We'll even move to another country because we want to prioritize him.
Like what is best for our son, like what is best for our child. And that's really how we have come to all those decisions, is to try to think and really weigh and think through what is actually best for our child.
And that is what I think makes up a safe space. It's when you prioritize your child. I think that's a big factor. It's not the only factor, but it's a big one. When you really say that, no, all those other things are not as important. We don't need a big house. We don't need 2 cars. We don't need this or that.
You can do it.
We value more spending time with you and you know, being with you and leading you through. And yeah, exactly.
Like, because you can do with so much less than what you think that you need, and that is why it's so it's so valuable that like you. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it on.
Who are you calling?
No, I forgot to put my phone on flight plan mode, so someone was calling and I accidentally answered.
Oh.
I got to hear a part of the video. I have to explain it later. But yeah, like, what was I saying? I think I was saying that you don't need so much materialistic things as you might think, and you can make it with so much less like financial income than what you think. And sure, it comes with some sacrifices, but I would say that's definitely worth it. And also the thing with like work and so. Because the time is short, and like work can have time to do that later. Like there will come a time when the child or children have moved out too. So this is just for a period, and then really like investing in the child and the best for the child. That's how we were reasoning. But we don't judge like people that choose to do in other ways, but these are the thoughts that came to us, our journey.
And that actually is, then I touched on it earlier, that is really our most important reason. It's the spiritual component, the spiritual aspect of it all. I think there was a quote that you wanted to read, and some statistics you wanted to share.
That's why I had my phone here, because I was going to read this quote. So as parents, this is a quote that I came across, thank you, when I was looking at the internet for different things with like homeschooling. And then I thought this was saying it in a good way. As parents, we naturally want to pass our faith on to our children, to teach them to be followers of Jesus. We don't want simply to teach them a set of beliefs. We want them to have their own personal life with God. How did Jesus go about training his disciples? He spent time with them. So I think that speaks a lot with that. Okay, the more time we have with our child and can guide our child into like a Christian lifestyle, not just like doctrinal things and beliefs, but actually like how to live the Christian life,
the values and morals
and the character and so on. Like that is so valuable, and that is hard if you barely have any time with your child. So that was a big factor for us, that okay, we want to do, like, we feel that the most important task we have in our life, more than having like our own personal relationship with Jesus, like is to really help Elionai to be saved for eternity. Like that is like the most important thing for us. So then we want to make decisions that aligns with that and adds to that, and then homeschooling felt like a thing that would greatly benefit that journey, like because you can be there with your child and
both from the positive things that you can instill and exemplify kind of your beliefs, so that it's not just talk, but in the way you interact with your child, in the stories that you share, the way you teach them, and all these things, that you can embody that, and it's like a positive aspiration, but also it's a protection from the alternative, where we simply have a different worldview than what is commonly taught in schools, whether it's about evolution or the family dynamics, and we're seeing things differently, or even like smaller things that seem more innocent, of like if a story is told or a lesson is taught with an example with lying, for example,
witches and
exactly,
things like that. It's a
fairy
lot of
tales.
that, at least here in this part of the world. Is a lot of fairy tale things involved in the school teaching, and also different values like here and there that is just going against the values that we have.
Even we had a book at some point that we got, and that was about the child rebelling against the parents, especially the father, and it's like, why? That's not a good book. That's not helping.
Encouraging the children to rebel against their parents, because that was freedom, and like there's a lot of things like that going on. And I know in Scandinavia, I don't know exactly how it is in the rest of the world, but in Scandinavia it's very non-religious, or how to say, and in the teachings in the school approach. It's very humanistic, and promoting very different things. And I know most of the people, they are just trying to do the best of what they have understood, but for us it goes a lot against then our worldview. That was a hard word. And things just that can seem innocent, even like certain kinds of musics and different things that we just we want to shield him from things, and the thing is that
that's a big thing, actually, the music.
The music, like
it's when you look on YouTube or videos like education, it's always like this
intense
music
hectic,
under it, when it's like people have been asking us, especially earlier on, like how our son is like so peaceful and everything. It's like well, partially because we don't have those kind of music, and so we have more calming music, and
not
so
like bombarded with impressions. And
we don't need to get into details. It's at least a spiritual thing that we want to set a positive example, and we want to protect him from bad influences.
And like one of the things then how are you most influenced? You're influenced by the surrounding you have, the people you have around you. And that is a huge thing. Like, who do you have as friends? Because you will become like the ones that you have as friends. And everyone knows that, like for children especially, they always want. So they even start talking like each other. And if their friends are having something and are allowed something, then they also want to have that. And then that just would make for a lot of unnecessary, like I'd say, unnecessary battles that he can be protected from now, where he is like getting to have his innocency a lot longer. Like, just take such a thing that now in today's society, things like talking about sex and introduce that, it comes down in so young ages. He doesn't need to know certain aspects of that yet. So it's a lot of negative influences that he's shielded from in this way, and it's a lot of that. We could go into a lot of examples, but I think you get the picture. But just one thing that was quite shocking, like we heard from our friends, that was playing in a music school, like which is just, you would think, quite innocent. But then at the performance or so, when they were gonna, like in the end of the year, the concert they would have, then the children, like young children, were dancing around in very revealing like outfits to songs about how they should, they sit in the school benches, and then it ends with that they rebel against it. And like everyone was just applauding, like the audience, and our friends, and being Christians, they were very shocked because they were not really used to that way, and like, but the people around didn't seem to think that was anything weird. And like, so those are examples of the things that I just believe in, like, try to uplift the good, to try to shield from as much as negative things as possible. It doesn't mean keep your child in a like, just that they are oblivious to the world. No, not like that.
You can decide the context in which they are introduced to things.
Exactly, and how, and explain certain things if they are introduced to it. And I just love that he can get to be like a child also for longer, and just focus on the positive, the upbuilding, the good characteristics. And so,
hey, just to not make this video too long, I think we should wind it down.
I have a tendency to.
I think some last part that we want to mention is that if you think that you may be interested in homeschooling, but think that you can't make it because of this or that, we are not an ideal family for who it's just, easy peasy to do this. No, it's a challenge for us too. We have different health issues. We have, then the financial situation that plays a role, and there's different elements.
That is like okay with the structure. Yeah. I'm glad that he's good with structure, but I mean, it comes with challenges, of course. But we can. It's worth to find ways around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if you feel like that, then don't give up. Talk with your husband, talk with your wife, talk together, and pray for it, because I believe that God will bless when we really choose to, in faith, take steps that we believe will benefit His kingdom or benefit our family. I think God will bless, and just try different stuff. On our channel, we will be sharing here. No, on the Sandelin family channel, that's where we will be sharing more resources also, and show videos of projects that we are doing. We'll make some other videos about homeschooling. So you're not alone. We want to be here with you. And I think it will be a blessed journey. Yeah,
definitely. And one thing more that we thought to mention, like, because when looking into this, we also saw some statistics that was very...
Yeah, you haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, it's very, like, showing that this is actually something that really does matter for your child's faith. And they made a study in United States with homeschooling families, comparing it to children like that went to normal schools and private schools, and they found in this in-depth study that it was 2 times as likely for children that are homeschooled compared to children that are going to normal schools or Christian schools. Christian schools to stay in their faith and to be strong in their faith. So it's 2 times as likely with the homeschooling families that they stay in the faith. And if you compared it with like homeschooling children compared to children that have been going to private non-Christian schools, then it was 6 times as likely that the homeschool children, they are staying in their faith and being strong in their faith. So that was quite some like significant statistics also,
Gen
like
2
showing
study?
The Gen 2 study, like showing that homeschooling does have an impact on the child's faith life later on. And since that feels like the most important thing for us, and to provide him like with a good future, both with the faith and the like eternal future, and also here and now with the academics, that we believe that this is actually a way in which he can learn in a good setting that fits him. That kind of sums up why we chose this, I think.
I think we covered it all. Well, that was it for this video. YouTube thinks that you'll like this video to watch next, so you can see. Let us know. See you in the next video.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.